The story continues in Mark and Luke. When the sun was setting, all the sick and those with diseases came. He laid hands on all of them, and he also cast out more devils. Then he went into a deserted place, and they kept him there for a while, and then he invited the others to follow him for ministry. But for the reason that I said earlier, because of the account later in Luke, they most likely didn't follow him now. He invited them, but they didn't follow. They wanted to take care of their family, and when he helped them bring in that huge catch of fish is when they finally did. So that was Luke. In Mark, after she ministered to them at evening when the sun did set, they brought him to where they're all diseased. He cast out devils, he healed them. In the morning, he went out before day into a solitary place, and they followed him. When they found him, he invited them to go with him. Okay, so pretty much the same thing. So then the verse starts out in Mark 1:32, and at evening, when the sun did set. Luke 4:40, now when the sun was setting, all they that had any sick. Okay, so Mark mentions at evening, so I'll begin with that. Mark. And at evening, when the sun did set. So this is saying the sun is completely set. In Luke, however, it says when the sun was setting. So, what should I say? When the sun did set, they brought to him all that were diseased. When the sun was setting, or when the sun did set. One or the other. Which one? I think I'll go with when the sun was setting, because he definitely continued a long enough time that the sun set during this action. So I'll say when the sun was setting. So when the sun is in both. Was setting as opposed to did set. So was setting only from Luke. All they that had any sick, they brought to him. All that were diseased, brought them to him. All they that had any sick, they brought to him. All that were diseased, and them that were possessed with devils. When it mentions in Luke who was brought, it doesn't mention that people with devils were brought. It just says later, and devils came out of many. So I'm definitely going to include that from Mark, and them that were possessed with devils. So the question is still, should I put they brought to him all that were diseased, or all they that had any sick with diverse diseases brought them to him? I like the order in Mark more, just saying they brought to him all that were diseased, and then going on, and them that were possessed with devils. I like that more. It's more linear instead of saying all they that had any sick with diverse diseases. I'll try and include all the words here, but I think I'm going to have the order in Mark. They brought to him all that were. So they brought to him, or I can say all they that brought to him. No, they brought to him. So they brought to him from Mark. Those words are in Luke. They're just in another order. They brought to him all that were, all that had any sick, all that were diseased. So I'll have the better explanation from Luke. All that had any sick with diverse diseases, instead of just all that were sick. The words are all there. They brought to him all that. So they brought to him all that. That's in both. Even though it's out of order in Luke, they are all there, so I'll include the color for both. They brought to him all that. Well, I guess saying they is the same as saying all they that had any sick. This is confusing. I don't know if I want to say both. All they that had any sick with diverse diseases brought them. They brought to him. No. Actually, I think I'm going to go back on this and have it the way that it's written in Luke, because saying they is not descriptive enough. It could be the apostles, it could be the people living in Peter's house, or it could be, as it says in Luke, all they that had sick with diverse diseases, meaning the people, the family members of the sick. So for description's sake, I'm going to have it according to Luke instead of according to Mark. Sick with diverse diseases. So diseased is in Mark, but it's not the same word. Those that were diseased versus those that had diseases. It's sort of the same word. I don't know if I should say it's in both. It's not exactly the same word. No, I'm not going to put it. It's too different. Disease is the noun. It's talking about the disease itself, as opposed to an adjective of the people. So I'm not going to say they're from both. It's just from Luke. Diverse diseases. And then all they that had sick with diverse diseases brought them to him. Brought them to him. So that is from both. It's just out of order in Mark. So I'll fix this all up in the addressing, but I will have these in the same color. Moving on, in Luke, and he laid his hands on every one of them and healed them. In Mark, and them that were possessed with devils. Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that. I'm going to put that before brought them to him. That way it'll say, all they that had sick with diverse diseases and them that were possessed with devils brought them to him. Or all they that had sick with diverse diseases and had sick with diverse diseases and possessed with devils, or them that were possessed with devils. I'll have all of the words. I pretty much always go back to that, just to be all inclusive. So from Mark, diseases and them that were possessed with devils brought them to him. If there was an and in here, it'd be really helpful. I don't know how this should read. And that evening when the sun was setting, all they that had sick with diverse diseases, and them that were possessed with devils, and that were possessed with devils. Okay, I have to get rid of that them from Mark, because it seems as if it's those who were possessed with devils were also bringing the sick to Jesus, and that's not what's happening. If I could say were brought to him, maybe it's not well written this way. All they that had sick with diverse diseases brought them to him. Is that how it's written in Luke? All they that had any sick with diverse diseases brought them to him. Yeah, I don't really like it. All they that had sick with diverse diseases brought them to him. All they that had sick with diverse diseases and... Now it still sounds as if those that were possessed with devils helped in bringing the sick with diverse diseases to Jesus, even if I do cut out the them. I don't like that. It has to be that those who were sick and those that were possessed were brought to him. Maybe I shouldn't worry about this because the context should explain. Right? All they that had sick with diverse diseases and then were possessed with devils brought them to him. Let me think of this from a new point of view. You know, I think I want to go back to the way it's written in Mark, because it clearly explains who is being brought to him. Because they brought to him who is being brought, then it explains who. All that were diseased, and I could say all that were sick with diverse diseases, and them that were possessed with devils. So it looks like I'm undoing all this. Yeah, I'm going to go back to the way it was written in Mark. And they brought to him all that were is only from Mark. Now I have to go on into only Luke, sick with diverse diseases, as opposed to just diseased. And then this portion is only from Mark, and them that were possessed with devils. It may not have the fix that I was hoping for at first, explaining who it is that brought to him these people, but it's way better than the other alternative, which would lead you to believe that it was actually those who were possessed with devils that were bringing the sick. That's not what's being said here in Mark. Okay, so this verse is now covered. So now it reads, and at evening when the sun was setting, they brought to him all that were sick with diverse diseases and them that were possessed with devils.